In our previous lessons, we explored the first four of the five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, and mental formations. Each of these has shown us that what we usually call myself is not a single permanent thing, but a collection of changing processes. Today, we come to the fifth and final aggregate, consciousness. This teaching is subtle, yet it is deeply practical. If we observe it carefully, it can transform the way we understand ourselves and the world around us. When people hear the word consciousness, they often imagine an invisible self living somewhere inside the body, a permanent observer looking through the eyes, listening through the ears, and directing every experience. It can feel as though there is someone sitting quietly within us, watching life unfold. But the Buddha gently invites us not to accept this assumption simply because it feels true. Instead, he encourages us to look carefully at our own experience. When we do, we discover something remarkable. We find seeing, hearing, thinking, feeling, and knowing, but it is much more difficult to find the permanent observer we have always assumed must be there. Imagine sitting peacefully beneath a tree in the early morning. The cool air touches your skin, birds begin their morning song, the fragrance of flowers drifts gently on the breeze. Sunlight slowly filters through the leaves, creating patterns of light and shadow upon the ground. A memory from childhood suddenly appears, followed by a thought about today's responsibilities. Then another thought quietly replaces it. Life unfolds naturally, one experience after another. The question is not whether these experiences happen, because they clearly do. The question is, how are they known? This knowing is what Buddhism calls consciousness. Consciousness is simply awareness of whatever is happening in this present moment. When there is seeing, there is awareness of seeing. When there is hearing, there is awareness of hearing. When a pleasant fragrance reaches the nose, there is awareness of smelling. When a thought appears in the mind, there is awareness of thinking. Consciousness is not something separate from experience. It is the knowing that arises together with each experience. The Buddha explained that this awareness functions through 6 sense doors. There is consciousness that knows sights through the eyes, sounds through the ears, smells through the nose, taste through the tongue, physical sensations through the body, and thoughts, memories, emotions, and ideas through the mind. These are not 6 different selves. They are simply different ways awareness functions depending upon what is being experienced. One of the most important things to understand is that consciousness does not arise by itself. Like everything else we have studied, it depends upon conditions. Consider the simple experience of seeing. For seeing to happen, there must be healthy eyes, something visible, enough light to illuminate the object, and consciousness that knows the experience. If one of these conditions is absent, seeing cannot occur. Imagine entering a mountain cave on a moonless night. Your eyes are still present, but without light there is no seeing. The experience depends upon conditions coming together. The same is true of hearing. A bell may ring in the distance, but if the ears cannot receive the sound, hearing does not occur. Smelling depends upon both the fragrance and the ability of the nose to detect it. Every experience arises because many causes and conditions support it. Nothing appears independently. Nature offers us beautiful examples of this truth. Think of a rainbow stretching across the sky after gentle rain. We admire its beauty, yet we know it does not belong to the sky itself. The rainbow appears only because sunlight, tiny drops of water, and the position of the observer come together in just the right way. Remove any one of these conditions, and the rainbow disappears. It is real as an experience, but it has no independent existence. Consciousness is much the same. It appears whenever the right conditions are present, and it changes as those conditions change. Another helpful image is that of a mirror resting quietly in a peaceful temple. The mirror reflects everything placed before it. A flower appears in its reflection, and when the flower is removed, the reflection disappears without leaving a trace. Later, a candle is placed before the mirror, and now only the candle is reflected. The mirror does not cling to the flower or resist the candle. It simply reflects whatever arrives. In a similar way, consciousness knows each experience without permanently holding on to it. Experiences continually arise and pass away, while awareness naturally knows each one. If you spend a few moments sitting quietly in meditation, you can observe this for yourself. Close your eyes and simply watch the mind. Soon a thought appears. Perhaps it is about work, family, or a memory from long ago. Before long, that thought fades away, and another one takes its place. A sound arises outside. Awareness knows the sound. Then the sound disappears into silence. A sensation appears in the body. Awareness knows the sensation. It too changes and eventually fades. Throughout this process, experience is constantly moving. Nothing remains exactly the same from one moment to the next. The Buddha often encouraged his disciples to look carefully at this changing nature of experience. We usually believe that because awareness seems continuous, there must be a permanent self behind it. Yet continuity does not necessarily mean permanence. Consider a river flowing through a valley. We call it by one name and think of it as a single river, but every moment fresh water flows downstream. The river remains recognizable, yet not a single drop stays in one place. Its continuity comes from movement, not from stillness. Consciousness is much like this flowing river. One moment there is awareness of sound, the next of sight, then of thought, then of sensation. Experience continues without interruption, but each moment is fresh, conditioned, and ever-changing. When we begin to see this clearly, something profound happens. We gradually loosen our attachment to the belief that there is a fixed and permanent me behind every experience. We often say, "I am angry," "I am afraid," or "I am happy," as though these experiences define who we are. But if we observe carefully, we notice that anger arises and fades, joy comes and goes, fear appears for a time and then disappears. Thoughts continually change, emotions continually change, even the objects of awareness continually change. What we call self begins to look less like a solid object and more like an ever-changing stream of experiences. This understanding is not meant to make us feel uncertain or lost. Quite the opposite. It gently frees us from carrying a burden we never needed to carry. Imagine walking through the mountains with a heavy pack on your shoulders. For many hours, the weight feels exhausting. Then someone shows you that the pack contains many stones that are not needed for the journey. As you remove them one by one, your steps become lighter. The path itself has not changed, but your experience of walking has. In much the same way, every insight into the changing nature of the aggregates removes another stone from the burden of attachment. Life becomes lighter because we are no longer trying to protect an identity that is constantly changing. This is why meditation is so valuable. Meditation is not an attempt to create a special state of mind. It is an invitation to observe what has always been happening. We begin to notice sights appearing and disappearing, sounds arising and fading, thoughts coming and going like clouds drifting across the open sky. Little by little, wisdom grows naturally. We begin to trust direct observation more than our assumptions. We discover that experience is alive, flowing, and interconnected. The Heart Sutra will soon tell us that even consciousness is empty. At first, this may sound surprising. How can awareness itself be empty? In Buddhism, emptiness does not mean that something does not exist. It means that nothing exists independently or permanently. Consciousness is empty because it depends completely upon causes and conditions. Just like the rainbow depends upon sunlight and rain, just like the river depends upon countless streams flowing together, consciousness depends upon the meeting of sense organs, objects, conditions, and awareness itself. It is real as an experience, yet it cannot be found as a separate, permanent entity. As we bring today's lesson to a close, I invite you to carry a simple practice into the rest of your day. From time to time, pause wherever you are. Notice one thing you can see. Listen to one sound. Feel one sensation within the body. Observe one thought passing through the mind. Do not judge or analyze. Simply notice how each experience appears, remains for a brief moment, and then quietly disappears. This gentle observation is the beginning of wisdom. We do not force insight to arise. We simply create the conditions for seeing clearly. In our next lesson, we will gather together everything we have learned about the 5 aggregates and discover how they work together to create the illusion of a separate and permanent self. This understanding lies at the very heart of the Buddha's teaching and prepares us for the profound realization of emptiness that unfolds throughout the Heart Sutra. Until we meet again, May you continue to observe your experience with patience, kindness, and curiosity. Like a calm lake reflecting the sky without clinging to the clouds, may your mind rest peacefully in simple awareness. And through that quiet observation, may wisdom naturally blossom, bringing greater freedom, compassion, and peace to your life.